Welcome to True.
The Complete History of Soap, From Ancient Discovery to Modern Innovation. Chapter 1. The Ancient Origins of Soap. The story of soap begins not with a single inventor, but with an accidental discovery that would change human civilization forever. Unlike many inventions that can be traced to a specific person or date, soap emerged independently across different ancient cultures, each discovering the cleaning properties of mixing fats with alkaline substances. The earliest evidence of soap-like materials dates back to around 2800 BCE in ancient Babylon. Archaeological excavations have uncovered clay cylinders containing a soap-like substance, along with inscriptions describing the process of mixing fats with ashes. These Babylonian artifacts are considered the oldest recorded evidence of soap making. The inscriptions detailed boiling fats with ashes to create a cleaning agent, though historians believe this early soap was primarily used for preparing textile fibers and wool rather than personal hygiene. Ancient Egyptians also developed their own soap-making techniques around 1550 BCE. The famous Ebers Papyrus, an ancient Egyptian medical document, contains descriptions of combining animal and vegetable oils with alkaline salts to create a soap-like substance. Egyptians used this concoction for washing and treating various skin diseases. They understood that cleanliness was connected to health and religious purity, incorporating soap into their daily rituals and medical practices. The ancient Sumerians, who lived in Mesopotamia around 2500 BCE, left behind cuneiform tablets describing soap recipes. These tablets indicated that they mixed water, alkali, and cassia oil to create their cleaning substance. Like the Babylonians, the Sumerians primarily used soap for cleaning wool and cotton in preparation for weaving rather than for bathing. Chapter 2. The Roman Legend and Early European Soap Making. One of the most enduring legends about soap's invention comes from ancient Rome. According to this tale, the word soap derives from Mount Sapo, a fictional mountain near Rome, where animals were sacrificed. The story claims that rain would wash a mixture of melted animal fats and wood ashes down into the clay soil along the Tiber River. Women washing clothes in the river discovered that this mixture made their cleaning tasks much easier. While this legend is charming, historians have found no evidence that Mount Sapo ever existed. However, the Romans did use soap, though they preferred other cleansing methods. Romans typically cleaned themselves using olive oil, which they would scrape off their skin, along with dirt, using a curved metal tool called a strigil. They also used various abrasive substances like pumice. Despite having access to soap, Romans viewed it more as a medicinal ointment or hair product than a bathing essential. The Gauls, ancient Celtic peoples living in what is now France and Germany, were actually more advanced in soap making than the Romans. Around the 1st century CE, they produced soap by mixing goat tallow with beechwood ashes. The Roman historian Pliny the Elder wrote about Gallic soap in his Encyclopedia Natural History, describing how the Gauls made two types, soft soap and hard soap, with the hard variety being considered superior. He noted that soap was particularly popular among Germanic tribes, where men used it to redden their hair. As the Roman Empire expanded, soap-making knowledge spread throughout Europe. By the 2nd century CE, Greek physician Galen recommended soap for both medicinal and cleansing purposes, marking one of the first medical endorsements of soap for personal hygiene. This recommendation would prove influential as soap-making evolved during the medieval period. Chapter 3. Medieval Soap-Making and the Rise of Soap Guilds. During the Middle Ages, soap-making transformed from a household craft into a professional industry. European soap makers began forming guilds and establishing centers of soap production that would become famous throughout the continent. The craft became more sophisticated, with soap makers closely guarding their recipes and techniques. Spain and Italy emerged as leading soap production centers during the medieval period. Spanish cities like Alicante produced high-quality hard soap using local olive oil and barilla, a plant rich in soda ash. Italian soap makers in Venice, Genoa, and Savona developed their own renowned varieties. Savona became so famous for soap making that saponification, the chemical process of making soap, derives its name from the city. The Arabs made significant contributions to soap-making technology during the medieval period. By the 7th century, Arab chemists had perfected the art of soap making, creating the first hard scented soaps by combining olive oil with aromatic oils and lye made from saltwort ashes. Damascus, Syria, became famous for Aleppo soap, also called savon d'Alep, which incorporated laurel oil. This soap, still produced today using traditional methods, is considered one of the world's oldest manufactured soaps. French soap making reached its zenith in Marseille, where soap makers created savon de Marseille, or Marseille soap. By the 14th century, Marseille had established itself as France's primary soap-making center. In 1688, King Louis XIV issued an edict regulating soap production in France, dictating that Marseille soap must contain only olive oil and barilla with no animal fats. This regulation ensured quality and protected Marseille's reputation. The city's soap was so valued that it was exported throughout Europe and beyond. English soap making developed more slowly due to the country's lack of olive oil. English soap makers relied on animal fats, producing softer, lower-quality soap than their Mediterranean counterparts. The industry grew nonetheless, particularly in Bristol, Coventry, and London. However, soap remained a luxury item for most people. In 1712, the English government imposed a soap tax that lasted until 1853, making soap even less accessible to common people and hindering the development of regular bathing habits. Chapter 4. The Scientific Revolution and Understanding Soap Chemistry. The 18th and 19th centuries brought revolutionary changes to soap making as scientists began understanding the chemistry behind the process. What had been an empirical craft practiced for millennia was finally being explained through scientific principles. French chemist Nicolas Leblanc made a crucial breakthrough in 1791 when he developed an industrial process for producing soda ash, or sodium carbonate, from common salt. The Leblanc process involved treating salt with sulfuric acid to produce sodium sulfate, then heating this with limestone and coal to produce soda ash. This invention made alkali much more readily available and less expensive, dramatically reducing the cost of soap production. Although the Leblanc process was later replaced by the more efficient Solvay process in the 1860s, it revolutionized soap making by ensuring a steady, affordable supply of a key ingredient. The true chemical nature of soap was revealed by French chemist Michel-Eugène Chevreul in the early 19th century. Between 1813 and 1823, Chevreul conducted extensive research on animal fats and discovered that fats are composed of glycerin combined with fatty acids. He explained that when fats react with alkali, a process he helped define as saponification, they break down into glycerin and soap. This understanding transformed soap making from guesswork into a science. Manufacturers could now predict outcomes, adjust recipes precisely, and create consistent products. Belgian chemist Ernest Solvay further revolutionized soap production in 1861 by developing the Solvay process, a more efficient method for producing soda ash from salt, ammonia, and carbon dioxide. The Solvay process was cheaper, produced higher quality soda ash, and created less pollution than the Leblanc process. It became the dominant method for alkali production and remains important in the chemical industry today. These scientific advances coincided with the Industrial Revolution, which brought mechanization to soap making. Factories replaced small workshops, producing soap on an unprecedented scale. Steam-powered machinery automated stirring, heating, and mixing, while new processes allowed for continuous production rather than small batches. These innovations dramatically lowered costs, making soap affordable to the general population for the first time in history. Chapter 5. The Birth of Modern Commercial Soap. The 19th century witnessed the emergence of commercial soap companies that would become household names. Entrepreneurs recognized that soap, once available to everyone, could be marketed, branded, and sold in ways that created brand loyalty and expanded markets. William Proctor, a candle maker, and James Gamble, a soap maker, formed a partnership in Cincinnati, Ohio, in 1837. Procter & Gamble started as a small operation making soap and candles from animal fats. The company's big break came during the American Civil War, when it secured contracts to supply soap and candles to the Union Army. This exposure established the company's reputation and provided capital for expansion. In 1879, Procter & Gamble chemist James N. Gamble, son of the founder, developed a white soap intended to rival expensive imported Castile soaps. During production, a worker accidentally left a soap mixer running during lunch, whipping excess air into the batch. Rather than discarding it, the company sold this batch and discovered that customers loved the floating soap, which made it easier to find in bath water. The company named this soap Ivory and marketed it with the famous slogan 99 and 44/100% pure, based on chemical analysis showing minimal impurities. Ivory became one of America's best-known brands and demonstrated the power of branding and advertising in the soap industry. British entrepreneur William Hesketh Lever revolutionized soap marketing in England. In 1885, Lever began selling pre-packaged, branded soap bars called Sunlight Soap, wrapped in distinctive yellow paper. Before this innovation, soap was typically sold as large blocks that shopkeepers would cut to order. Lever's pre-packaged bars were consistent in quality, hygienic, and convenient. He invested heavily in advertising, creating some of the earliest national advertising campaigns. His company, Lever Brothers, grew rapidly and eventually became part of Unilever, one of the world's largest consumer goods companies. American businessman Benjamin T. Babbitt made soap more affordable to working-class families in the mid-19th century. He pioneered the use of soap wrappers for advertising and was among the first to sell individual bars, rather than requiring customers to buy entire boxes. Babbitt also promoted the idea of giving away small samples, allowing people to try products before purchasing. His marketing innovations influenced the entire consumer goods industry. Chapter 6. Soap's Role in Public Health and Hygiene Movements. The connection between soap, cleanliness, and health became increasingly understood during the 19th century, leading to public health campaigns that changed bathing habits worldwide. Soap transitioned from a cleaning product to a public health necessity. Before the 19th century, regular bathing was uncommon in many societies. Medieval Europeans believed that bathing could be dangerous, allowing disease to enter the body through open pores. Even as late as the 18th century, many people bathed infrequently, preferring to change their undergarments regularly rather than wash their bodies. This attitude began changing as scientists discovered the connection between cleanliness and disease prevention. Hungarian physician Ignaz Semmelweis demonstrated in the 1840s that hand-washing with soap and chlorinated water dramatically reduced deaths from childbed fever in maternity wards. British nurse Florence Nightingale championed sanitation and hygiene during the Crimean War in the 1850s, showing that cleanliness saved lives. Although the germ theory of disease was not yet fully accepted, these pioneers proved that washing prevented illness. Louis Pasteur's development of germ theory in the 1860s, and Robert Koch's identification of specific disease-causing bacteria in the 1880s provided scientific backing for hygiene practices. Public health officials began promoting hand-washing and bathing with soap as essential disease prevention measures. Governments launched public health campaigns emphasizing cleanliness, building public bathhouses in cities where homes lacked bathing facilities. The soap industry embraced these developments, marketing soap not just as a cleaning product, but as a health product. Advertisements emphasized soap's role in preventing disease and protecting families. Some claims were exaggerated or false, but the overall message that cleanliness promoted health was sound and helped establish regular washing as a social norm. Schools began teaching children about hygiene, including proper hand-washing techniques. These lessons reached into homes, as children brought hygiene practices back to their families. By the early 20th century, regular bathing and hand-washing with soap had become standard practice in industrialized nations, contributing to dramatic decreases in infectious disease mortality. Chapter 7. Innovation and Specialization in the 20th Century. The 20th century brought unprecedented innovation in soap production and formulation. Manufacturers developed specialized soaps for different purposes, created synthetic alternatives, and continuously refined their products based on scientific research and consumer preferences. During World War I, a shortage of fats and oils for soap making led German chemists to develop synthetic detergents, or synthets. These products cleaned effectively without using the natural fats needed for traditional soap. The first synthetic detergent, created in 1916, was a harsh product unsuitable for personal use, but it proved that alternatives to traditional soap were possible. American company Procter & Gamble revolutionized laundry cleaning in 1933 by introducing Dreft, the first synthetic detergent for home use. However, Dreft worked only in soft water. In 1946, Procter & Gamble launched Tide, a heavy-duty synthetic detergent that worked in both hard and soft water, cleaned better than soap, and didn't leave soap scum. Tide became phenomenally successful, transforming laundry practices and establishing synthetic detergents as superior to soap for many cleaning applications. The mid-20th century saw soap manufacturers developing specialized products for different skin types and purposes. Companies created facial soaps with moisturizers, antibacterial soaps with disinfectants, deodorant soaps with fragrances, transparent soaps with glycerin, and hypoallergenic soaps for sensitive skin. This specialization allowed companies to target specific market segments and command premium prices for specialty products. Liquid soap for personal use emerged in the 1980s. While liquid soaps had existed earlier for industrial purposes, they weren't popular for hand washing until entrepreneur Robert R. Taylor patented a practical liquid soap dispenser in 1980. Liquid soap offered advantages over bar soap. It was more hygienic, since users didn't share a wet bar, easier to dispense, and could include moisturizers and other additives that were difficult to incorporate into solid soap. Liquid soap quickly gained market share, particularly in public restrooms and commercial settings. Environmental concerns emerged in the late 20th century, leading to reformulations of soap and detergent products. Phosphates, commonly added to detergents to soften water and improve cleaning, were found to cause water pollution and algae blooms. Many countries banned or restricted phosphates in cleaning products, forcing manufacturers to develop alternative formulations. Companies also faced pressure to make products biodegradable and reduce packaging waste, leading to concentrated formulas and refillable containers. Chapter 8. The Science of How Soap Works. Understanding how soap actually cleans helps explain why this ancient invention remains indispensable in modern life. The cleaning power of soap lies in its unique molecular structure and chemical properties. Soap molecules are amphiphilic, meaning they have two distinct ends with different properties. One end, called the hydrophilic head, is attracted to water. This head consists of a carboxylate group that carries a negative charge and readily bonds with water molecules. The other end, called the hydrophobic tail, repels water but is attracted to oils and fats. This tail consists of a long hydrocarbon chain, similar in structure to the oils it attracts. When soap is added to water containing dirt and oils, the hydrophobic tails of soap molecules attach themselves to the oil and dirt particles, while the hydrophilic heads remain in the water. As you rub your hands or agitate the water, soap molecules surround oil droplets and dirt particles, with their tails pointing inward toward the oil and their heads pointing outward toward the water. This arrangement forms structures called micelles. Micelles suspend oil and dirt in water, preventing them from redepositing on the surface being cleaned. The negatively charged heads of the soap molecules repel each other, keeping the micelles separated and dispersed throughout the water. When you rinse with water, the micelles wash away, carrying the trapped dirt and oil with them. This process allows soap to remove substances that water alone cannot, since water and oil don't mix under normal circumstances. The effectiveness of soap depends on several factors. Temperature matters because warm water increases molecular movement, helping soap molecules surround and trap dirt more quickly. Agitation, whether rubbing hands together or stirring laundry, helps soap molecules contact and surround dirt particles. The type of water also affects soap performance. Hard water contains calcium and magnesium ions that react with soap to form insoluble compounds called soap scum, reducing cleaning effectiveness and leaving deposits on surfaces. Soft water, lacking these minerals, allows soap to work more efficiently. Traditional soap has limitations. It works poorly in acidic conditions, becoming less effective and potentially precipitating out of solution. Most soap is alkaline, with a pH around 9 to 10, which can irritate sensitive skin. Modern formulations address these issues by adding buffers, moisturizers, and other ingredients to improve performance and reduce irritation, while maintaining the basic cleaning action of soap molecules. Chapter 9. Cultural and Social Impact of Soap. Soap has profoundly influenced human culture and society beyond its practical cleaning applications. The availability and use of soap have affected social norms, class distinctions, public health policies, and even language and entertainment. Throughout much of history, cleanliness and the use of soap indicated social status. Wealthy individuals could afford expensive imported soaps, elaborate bathing facilities, and the servants to maintain them. The poor made do with harsh, homemade soap or went without. This distinction slowly diminished as soap became affordable to all classes during the 19th and 20th centuries, though premium soaps still serve as status symbols. The industrialization of soap production and aggressive marketing campaigns in the late 19th century didn't just sell soap, they changed cultural attitudes about cleanliness. Advertisers associated soap with morality, social success, and respectability. Being clean became a moral imperative and a sign of good character. These campaigns particularly targeted women as household managers responsible for family cleanliness and health. Advertisers created anxiety about body odor, dirty clothes, and unclean homes, then offered soap as the solution. The term soap opera originated in the 1930s when soap manufacturers sponsored daytime radio dramas targeting housewives. Their primary customers, companies like Procter & Gamble, Colgate-Palmolive, and Lever Brothers, produced or sponsored serialized programs featuring domestic dramas that appealed to their target audience. These soap operas provided entertainment while advertising sponsors' products. The format proved so successful that it transitioned to television and remains popular today, though the direct connection to soap companies has diminished. Soap has influenced language and idioms in various cultures. English speakers use phrases like clean as a whistle, squeaky clean, and wash your hands of that relate to cleanliness. The concept of whitewashing originally referred to applying white paint or lime to hide imperfections, but it drew from associations between whiteness, cleanliness, and virtue that soap advertisers promoted. Soapbox refers to improvised platforms for public speaking, originating from boxes that shipped soap and other goods. Different cultures developed unique soap-making traditions and bathing practices. Turkish hammams, Japanese onsen, Scandinavian saunas, and Russian banyas all incorporated soap into elaborate communal bathing rituals that served social and cultural functions beyond simple cleanliness. Aleppo soap from Syria, Marseille soap from France, Castile soap from Spain, and African black soap represent regional soap-making traditions with distinctive characteristics and cultural significance. Chapter 10. Modern Soap Industry and Future Directions. The contemporary soap industry is a global enterprise worth billions of dollars, with major corporations competing for market share alongside artisan soap makers serving niche markets. Innovation continues as manufacturers respond to changing consumer preferences, environmental concerns, and scientific advances. Today's soap market includes traditional bar soaps, liquid soaps, foam soaps, and hybrid products. Major manufacturers like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Henkel, and Colgate-Palmolive dominate the mass market, producing standardized products distributed globally. These companies invest heavily in research and development, creating formulations that address specific consumer needs, such as moisturizing, antibacterial properties, fragrance, or hypoallergenic characteristics. Simultaneously, artisan soap making has experienced a renaissance. Small batch soap makers create handcrafted products using traditional methods, natural ingredients, and unique formulations. These artisan soaps appeal to consumers seeking alternatives to mass-produced products, supporting local businesses, or avoiding synthetic ingredients. The craft soap movement has grown significantly, with thousands of small soap makers operating worldwide, selling through farmers markets, online platforms, and specialty stores. Environmental sustainability has become a major focus for the soap industry. Consumers increasingly demand products made from sustainable, ethically sourced ingredients, packaged in recyclable or biodegradable materials, and produced through environmentally responsible processes. Companies respond by reformulating products to eliminate microplastics, using plant-based ingredients instead of petroleum derivatives, reducing water consumption in manufacturing, and designing packaging that minimizes waste. Antibacterial soaps became controversial in the early 21st century. While marketed as superior to regular soap for killing germs, research showed that antibacterial soap containing triclosan and triclocarban was no more effective than plain soap and water at preventing illness. Furthermore, these chemicals raised environmental and health concerns, potentially contributing to antibiotic resistance and disrupting hormones. In 2016, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration banned triclosan and 18 other antibacterial chemicals from consumer soaps, though antibacterial soaps using other ingredients remain available. The COVID-19 pandemic dramatically increased awareness of handwashing's importance in preventing disease transmission. Public health agencies worldwide emphasized frequent handwashing with soap and water as a primary defense against the virus. This renewed focus on hygiene drove increased soap sales and reinforced messages that soap makers had been promoting for over a century. Regular handwashing with soap prevents disease and saves lives. Innovations continue in soap technology and formulation. Researchers develop soaps that work in seawater, useful for sailors and coastal communities. Scientists create formulations that remain stable in extreme temperatures, important for regions with harsh climates. Biotechnology enables production of soap ingredients through fermentation rather than harvesting plants or animals, potentially making soap production more sustainable and less dependent on agriculture. The future of soap likely includes further personalization, with consumers selecting products tailored to their specific skin types, preferences, and values. Technology may enable custom formulations created on demand. Sustainability will drive continued innovation in ingredients, manufacturing processes, and packaging. The fundamental principle of soap, molecules that bridge water and oil to enable cleaning, will remain, but how soap is made, packaged, marketed, and used will continue evolving. Conclusion: the enduring importance of soap. From accidental discoveries in ancient Babylon to sophisticated modern formulations, soap has been an essential part of human civilization for over 4,000 years. While we cannot name a single inventor, countless people across cultures and centuries contributed to developing, refining, and spreading soap-making knowledge. Soap's importance extends beyond cleaning. Access to soap correlates with public health improvements, reduced child mortality, and better quality of life. The United Nations recognizes handwashing with soap as vital to achieving multiple sustainable development goals, including good health, clean water and sanitation, and sustainable cities. Organizations promote hand-washing with soap in developing regions where access remains limited, knowing that this simple act can dramatically reduce deaths from diarrheal diseases and respiratory infections. The story of soap encompasses chemistry, commerce, culture, and public health. It demonstrates how a simple product, once a luxury, became a necessity that improved life for billions of people. As we face ongoing challenges from infectious diseases, environmental degradation, and global inequality, soap remains relevant, a proven tool for promoting health and dignity. Today, as you wash your hands with soap, you participate in a tradition thousands of years old, using a product that represents human ingenuity, scientific understanding, and our ongoing efforts to improve health and well-being. The story of soap continues, with each generation adding new chapters through innovation, application, and understanding. This ancient invention, born from mixing fats with ashes, remains indispensable in our modern world and will undoubtedly continue serving humanity for generations to come.